What if the man, the myth, the mountain, Gyome, was sent to the Mugen Train instead of Rengoku? Would the strongest Hashira of the generation be able to change the outcome, or would he too turn into a donut? The story would go a little like this. Gyome first encounters the Slasher as he's holding a boy hostage. Just as he's about to kill the boy, Gyome successfully stops him by destroying his hand. The demon tries to speed off to kill the vendors instead, but surprisingly, while he is running, he just sees Gyome running beside him. You already saw Rengoku run so fast, it looked like he was a jet engine, but Gyome is like a tank that has 5 more rockets strapped into him. In the original timeline, Rengoku made it just in time and killed the demon. But this time, even before the demon arrived, Gyome already killed him, meaning that he never reached the vendors in the first place. When the Mugen Train is up and running, Gyome decides to board it and meets the trio, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro. Enmu puts them into a deep sleep, and this is when they have their own dreams. The others would remain the same, but Gyome's dream would be much more interesting. In his dream, he reunites with the children from the orphanage he used to take care of before it was attacked by a demon. This means we'll get to see his backstory much earlier. This relates to not only Gyome's stone breathing, but his personality as well, with how overwhelming he tends to let his emotions come out while still maintaining a strong foundation. Tanjiro wakes up and just knocks out most of the kids. This is the time when Tanjiro realizes Enmu is actually fused with the train, and then the rest of them wake up. This is when they made the plan where Rengoku guarded the 5 cars, Zenitsu and Nezuko guarded the rest, while Tanjiro and Inosuke tried to kill Enmu. But since even according to Kokushibo, Gyome is the strongest Hashira he has met for centuries, Gyome could probably protect the entire train with Zenitsu. This means that Nezuko is with Tanjiro and Inosuke, and they'll be able to finish Enmu off quicker than in the original timeline. The train still derails, and this is the part you've all been waiting for. Akaza still arrives, and now he's facing off against Gyome. One little thing you have to know is that Gyome already has access to the transparent world, which gives him the ability to manipulate his blood flow and breathing to be able to even counter Kokushibo. Another thing is that Gyome would not unlock his Demon Slayer mark in this battle, as he still can't fulfill the condition that he has to be near someone who already has it. But you might ask, what about Tanjiro? Well, Tanjiro fully manifested his mark in the Entertainment District arc, which is the arc after this one. This means Gyome won't be as strong as when he fought Kokushibo, but he's still more powerful than any Hashira of his time. The battle starts and Akaza launches the first move, only for his entire arm to be crushed by Gyome's flail and axe. Akaza uses his destructive death, Compass Needle, and even asks Gyome to become an Upper Moon. They trade blows, and it seems like Akaza is at a disadvantage. Using the transparent world, Gyome can see through Akaza's movements, and even counter. Another advantage Gyome has is that he's not using his swordsmanship, but is using Kusari Gamajutsu. I know it's a mouthful, but this is when a person uses a kama with chains, but instead of a kama, Gyome takes it up a notch and uses a flail and axe. It's like on steroids, basically. Using this, he was even able to match Kokushibo, who has 500 years worth of experience, without his Demon Slayer mark. I'm not saying this would be an easy fight, but Gyome would have the upper hand. Their battle would go back and forth, and Gyome would sustain injuries, but not too life-threatening. Akaza instantly heals his wounds as well, and their fight rages on. This is when the biggest change in battle happens. You see, this would become a battle of attrition, and it already lasted longer than Akaza's and Rengoku's original duel. Akaza would see that the sun is rising and he would try to escape. In response, Gyome would do everything he can to stop him, so that if he can't kill him, then the sun can. He'll most likely use his 4th form, Volcanic Rock, Rapid Conquest, and hit Akaza from 2 sides. Akaza was already running away when Kyojuro was on his last breaths, but this time, he could no longer escape. Tanjiro even comes in to make sure he doesn't run away from the sun, and that's when the Upper Moon 3 disintegrates and is defeated. Gyome would definitely have a lot of injuries, but they succeeded nonetheless. With Akaza gone, every arc stays the same except for the Infinity Castle arc. This means that the only Upper Moons left are Doma, Nakime, Kokushibo, and Kaigaku. So yeah, Muzan's veins are about to explode right now after losing so many strong demons. I mean, at this point, I would just rage quit. But Muzan's a gamer, so he decides to go with his plan and attack the Ubuyashiki estate himself. That's when Kagaya sets up the ultimate trap and blows up himself along with some of his family, just so they can slow down Muzan. The Hashiras arrive, and Gyome, being the MVP that he is, manages to decapitate Muzan, but he just regenerates anyway and pulls all of them into the Infinity Castle with him. The fight would totally change up to this point because Akaza isn't present anymore. You see, in the original timeline, Tanjiro and Gyu were the ones who fought him. They defeated him, but it was due to Tanjiro unlocking the Selfless State, which bypassed Akaza's abilities. Since Tanjiro and Gyu won't fight him anymore, more, then they would have to fight another demon. This means that the matchups would most likely be like this: Shinobu, Giyu, Tanjiro versus Doma, Obadiah and Mitsuri versus Nakime, Gyome, Moichiro, Sanemi, Rengoku, and Genya versus Kokushibo, and Kaigaku versus Zenitsu. Inosuke and Kanao would also arrive to help Giyu, Tanjiro, and Shinobu fight against Doma. With Shinobu having extra backup, what happens next? Well, let's say it's not a pretty sight for Doma. There's a high chance that Shinobu wouldn't even die because she has the literal MC backing her up. The three of them would try to rush Doma before he could even unleash one of his techniques. As Shinobu inserted her poison, they realized that this wouldn't be an easy fight. Doma would most likely push them back, injuring them to the point where they're almost going to lose. This just shows how powerful the upper moons are, and Akaza being killed by sunlight was more or less luck on the Demon Slayer's part. Luckily for the two Hashiras though, Tanjiro is there, and with his sun breathing he manages to land a hit on Doma, making it hard for him to regenerate. His presence also awakens their Demon Slayer marks, making the Hashiras much more powerful than before. Lucky for them though, they managed to defeat Doma and end his icy attacks. The rest of the fight's outcome would be the same. Gyome, Rengoku, and Sanemi survive after Kokushibo is defeated. Obadiah and Mitsuri also win, and Zenitsu one-shot Kaigaku into oblivion. This takes us to the final fight against Muzan, and the Demon Slayers have two more Hashiras compared to the original series. Shinobu would be one of the most crucial assets in this final battle. In addition to Tamayo's poison, if Shinobu lands a hit, she'll be able to slow Muzan down even more, giving the other Demon Slayers more chances to attack. She's like the support character in your World of Warcraft party that nobody wants to die. The battle rages on and Muzan looks like he is going to die anytime soon, and that's why almost every Hashira now has their Demon Slayer marks, and some like Obadiah and Rengoku have attained the transparent world. Just imagine Rengoku with the Demon Slayer Mark II. The fight becomes more intense as Muzan keeps them at bay. In the end though, they manage to defeat him via the sun. However, like in the original timeline, our boy Muzan has this classic boss vibe and awakens his second form by making Tanjiro into a demon. Demon King Tanjiro awakens, and the surviving Hashiras and Demon Slayers try to stop him. Luckily for them, Nezuko arrives, and they insert the antidote which makes him into a human. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell. But before you go, click on this video for another What If Demon Slayer video.